Hey guys, this is Nick with Nick Does DGI, and welcome back to my channel. This channel has seen crazy growth over the past few weeks, so I just want to thank each and every one of you for showing your support. Let's keep the momentum going. In this video, I want to talk about the democratization of finance and how some people are using the next round of stimulus checks to break the mold of economic inequality. On the heels of another round, you too can be a part of the movement to better your personal finances. You don't want to miss out on this, so stay tuned. And with that being said, please don't forget to stimulate the like button. The social construct that we've all come to know over the past couple of decades has been the topic of economic inequality, about how the gaps in wealth between upper middle and lower income families are rising and the share held by middle income class families are falling, about how the protest movement Occupy Wall Street became an iconic movement following the great financial recession, meant to change the perceptions of income and economic disparity in the financial markets. With the eventual rise of financial technology, or FinTech for short, lower and middle class consumers have only recently started to seek services and products designed to help them break through the economic ceilings and climb up the ladder of financial independence. Robinhood, SoFi, M1 Finance, and a slew of new FinTech companies are at the forefront of a new digital revolution of bringing financial independence to consumers, to democratize finance and empower everyone to maximize their financial well-being. With a plethora of commission-free investing platforms, there really is no better time than the year 2021 to be an individual retail investor in the markets. The stock market is certainly not the economy, and the economy is most certainly not the stock market. Yet it often seems like the stock market is where millionaires and billionaires are born and where riches are created. Just look at Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, whose hundreds of billions of dollars of net worth can be traced to the stock market, but perhaps this is also the byproduct of a growing reliance on the stock market for millions of 401k retirement plans and public pension plans. Despite these cutting-edge tools, there is still a glaring contrast as to who remain invested in the stock market. According to the Pew Research Center, just over half of U.S. households have some investments in the market, either directly through individual brokerage accounts or indirectly through 401ks or IRA retirement plans. And while that number might appear low, this is actually in line with prior estimates over the past 10 to 15 years. This figure reached a high of 67% back in 2002, and again at 65% in 2007. But this figure has remained in the low to mid 50% since the great financial recession, as many got burned and lost confidence in the stock market and have opted to other alternative asset classes such as cash, bonds, and savings accounts. And when you subtract those who own stock investments outside of retirement accounts, this figure dropped to just 35%. To put it simply, you can think of this 35% as those who wanted to make voluntary investments into the market. For one reason or another, there is a growing disconnect as to who owns stock. Again, with data collected by the Pew Research Center, it's evident that participation in the stock market is correlated with increasing levels of household income. For households earning less than $35,000 a year, only 19% participated in the market. 44% involvement for households earning between $35,000 and $53,000. 66% involvement for households earning between $53,000 and $99,000, and a whopping 88% involvement in households earning more than $100,000. It's obvious that households with higher disposable incomes have more flexibility to allocate more money into investments, whereas lower and middle class households are more likely to live paycheck to paycheck. And the ongoing financial effects of the pandemic has many worried. And here's where the stimulus checks come in. Since the passage of the $2.2 trillion CARES Act enacted in March of 2020, authorizing $1,200 payments, to the $900 billion Consolidated Appropriation Act enacted in December of 2020, authorizing $600 payments, and now the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan enacted in March of 2021, authorizing $1,400 paychecks. There were 3 rounds of individual stimulus checks meant to help the lower and middle class lessen the financial burdens of the pandemic. In total, individual taxpayers with qualifying incomes with under an adjusted gross income of $75,000 are slated to receive at least $3,200 and even more if dependents are claimed. I will leave a link in the description below to see how much you might qualify for the latest round of stimulus checks. Unlike the first 2 rounds, the latest 3rd round of payments will be based on either your 2019 or 2020 returns if already filed. Critics of the program have questioned the need for such broad payments and worried about the possibility of misuse. In large part, these concerns are unsubstantiated. Across the lower, middle, and upper class, most of the stimulus payments were spent on food, utilities, and household supplies, as was initially intended for when Congress created the program. But in the lower and middle class, it was shown that the stimulus payments were more commonly used for rent and mortgage payments. However, what you may or may not notice is that according to this survey, no more than 8% of recipients saved or invested the money. Perhaps this is due to less financial obligations that come with age, such as living at home, foregoing a car payment, or indefinite pause on federal student loan payments, or a higher risk tolerance. But studies have shown that Generation Z and millennials were more likely to invest a substantial portion of their stimulus checks directly into the stock market. Through compound interest, the stock market is still considered one of the most easily accessible forms of long-term wealth creation. High interest rate savings accounts and bonds are non-existent, and opportunities to direct real estate investments remain out of reach for most people. So as I previewed in the introduction, here's why I think you too can take advantage of the stimulus checks to better your finances if given the opportunity. If you're one of the tens of millions of Americans eligible to receive another round of stimulus checks, congratulations. Assuming you qualify for the full amount, you'll have at least another $1,400 coming your way by the end of March 2021. I know this money will help sustain your cost of living and provide for your family, but if you are interested in taking advantage of the situation to grow your wealth, please consider the following order of operations. First, use the money to pay off any high-interest consumer debts such as credit card debt, auto loans, or personal loan debts. You can theoretically make an extra home mortgage payment or student loan payment, but I would personally hold off for now. 1. If you have recently gotten a mortgage over the past few years, interest rates have been at historic lows, and you would mathematically be better off investing the money over that 15 or 30-year fixed mortgage term. And as far as student loans go, interest rates on federal student loans can range between 3 to 6% as of this time of recording, but there is an indefinite pause on student loan payments for the time being. Furthermore, there's a possibility that some or most federal student loans may actually be forgiven by the federal government in the coming years. Next, you want to make sure you have a minimum emergency fund of at least a few $1,000s in case of an unexpected financial bill or loss of job. Unfortunately, life happens and you never know when a sudden auto bill or medical expense is right around the corner. Personally, I would feel comfortable having a few months worth of expenses in the bank just in case stuff hits the fan. Lastly, if you have any stimulus check money left over by this point, it's time to consider investing in the market. The stock market is resilient and appreciates at an annual rate of return of 8 to 10%. There's no need to make it complicated either. It is perfectly acceptable to invest entirely in index fund ETFs, or if you want to be involved, choose to invest in individual stocks or do a combination of both. But you are in control of your finances and there is an endless amount of knowledge at your fingertips. So research, formulate, and take action. Please note that this video is not intended as financial advice, nor am I a financial advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results, and please take the information with a grain of salt. Please do your own research and due diligence when deciding to invest in investable securities. I'm just an ordinary guy posting his opinions onto YouTube because I love dividends, stocks, and personal finance. If you found the video helpful, please consider clicking the like button and subscribing to my channel. This helps with the YouTube algorithm and gets my channel noticed. Hit the bell notification to receive the latest alerts, and all engagement is much appreciated. Until next time, take care.